الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد ومن والاه. Alhamdulillah, as we move now through the month of Ramadan, we have to ask ourselves, what is the goal of the month of Ramadan? You know, every holiday has this goal. I mean, Ramadan is basically a 30 to 29 day holiday for the Muslims. What is the goal of the month of Ramadan? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that this month was prescribed for you, for your ailments, for your diseases, as it was those before you, so that you can achieve a taqwa. Taqwa is the goal of the month of Ramadan. And taqwa, simply put, means what? To be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be careful how you move through this life. And once one of the great companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, named Ubay bin Ka'b, he was asked by Umar radiallahu anhu, what is a taqwa? And Ubay bin Ka'b, he said, have you ever walked through a thorny pathway with a long or flowing robe? And Umar, he said, yes, I have. And Ubay, he asked him, then how did you carry yourself? He said, I grabbed my clothes and I wrapped them around me tightly, and I moved through the thorns so I'd be careful that I wouldn't, rip my clothes. Ubay, he said to him, radiallahu anhu, this is a taqwa, that you move through this life cautiously, making sure that you don't fall into any of those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden. Taqwa, according to our scholars of fiqh, means to stay away from whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you to stay away from, and to do as best you can those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered you to do. This month, dear brothers and sisters, we're going to check into a camp. This is not a summer camp or a spring camp. This is Camp Taqwa. Welcome to Camp Taqwa. And there's certain things that you need to bring with you, certain supplies that you need to bring within this camp. Number one is to understand the concept of taqwa correctly. And to give you even a broader understanding of this concept of taqwa, we go to the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَقَاهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ عَذَابَ الْجَحِيمِ. And so Tur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He protected these people from a grievous or a very difficult and painful punishment. وَوَقَاهُمْ. And waqa from waqaya is the same word which taqwa comes from. So taqwa has two meanings. Number one, the meaning of a shield, al-wiqaya, an actual shield that someone uses in the line of fire. And number two, a taqwa, it comes from a word which means what? Protection. So this taqwa is a protection from what? The punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a protection from the plans of shaitan. And at the same time, it's a shield from the punishment of Allah. The more I have a taqwa, the more I'll be protected from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment and from the plans and plots of shaitan. So this taqwa, we're coming into the camp of taqwa, and there's some things inshallah ta'ala that we need to acquire as we come into this camp. If we look at this camp, we'll see all type of activities that we have for you. Number one, we have individual exercises. Number two, we have communal exercises. So number one, for example, the individual exercise is your intention. That you should have a sincere intention for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you observe the actions of ibadat, those actions which have been prescribed for you during this month. Observing the salah, staying away from evil talk, staying away from listening to evil things. Our brothers who might smoke and sisters who might smoke, stay away from smoking. There's no smoking here. This is a no smoking zone. Camp Taqwa. Make sure that you don't sleep too much, that you spend your time awake. Make sure that you stay away from being negligent and move towards the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So many individual exercises which take place in Camp Taqwa. Also, we have communal exercises. For example, we should try to pray Taraweeh together as a community. We should try to make dua together as a community. We should get out and do something charitable in the society as a community. We should spend time together as a community in Camp Taqwa, because there are certain rules that you have to stick to. Number one, less talk of the dunya and more talk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, less hatred for others and more love for others. Number three, stop counting the money and spend the money. You know what? Give money to noble causes. Number four, avoid things which cause you to waste your time and use your time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, in the next few halaqat, we'll talk about specific drills and rope courses which we have here for you at Camp Taqwa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and make us from the people of Taqwa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.